Hey everybody, my name's Ryan, and here at eTrailer we install, test fit, and review a lot of different parts. That way we can try to answer any questions those of you might have. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. We're going to be checking out the Patriot Hitches Adjustable Drop Hitch Receiver Adapter. So today we have the red ops version, and you can see we have red pin and clips. But if that's really not your style, there's also a black ops version available as well, where the pin and clips are black in color. So when it comes to drop hitches, there's a ton of different choices available out there, and things can get confusing pretty quick, and you want to be sure to choose the one that is best suited for your needs. And honestly, this one, after looking at it, I think it is a great general purpose all-around drop hitch that you can use for a ton of different applications. And I say that for a few different reasons. So not only are we going to have a ton of adjustability here, but we're not going to be limited to more or less a fixed ball mount down here. We're actually just going to have your standard receiver tube opening. So not only can you use a ball mount to tow your trailers and everything else, but if you wanted to, you could also use this for accessories. And our customer today is a perfect example on how many things you can use it for, how versatile this really is. So he's got his pickup truck and tows a variety of different trailers. So that's going to be perfect. You can set your adjustability right where you need it to keep everything nice and level. He also mentioned too that his wife has a smaller SUV, and from time to time they use a cargo carrier on it when they're going on short trips and things like that. And so that cargo carrier sits pretty low to the ground. So if you flip this into the upright position, you can raise it up and get that accessory a little bit higher off the ground, give you a little more ground clearance. So just to kind of cover some of the basics now, the adjustable hitch receiver adapter, here it's going to have a 2" by 2" shank. So it's going to work with those standard 2" by 2" trailer hitches. And the receiver tube down here is also going to be 2" by 2". So that's a super common size, ton of different things that will work out with this. That is going to have 11 inches of adjustability. So you can drop it down 11 inches or flip it over and have 11 inches in that raised position. So like I said, you have a ton of different adjustability there, and you should be able to find a spot that works real well with your setup. Now, it is going to have a maximum gross tongue weight rating of 700 pounds. So that's going to be the amount of weight that's pushing down on the receiver tube there. Pretty high number as far as different accessories and things like that go. You should be good to use just about any of them. And it is going to have a maximum gross trailer weight rating of 7,000 pounds. So that's going to be the amount of weight that's pulling on the hitch. So the weight of your trailer plus anything you might have on it. That is a pretty high number. However, I do suggest if you plan on doing some really heavy duty towing, pulling around some big trailers and things like that, definitely keep that weight capacity in mind. If you think you're going to exceed it, a more heavy duty style adapter may be more appropriate for your situation. And if that's the case, if you want a good drop adapter that's very heavy duty for those super large trailers, I really like the line of Gen Y adapters. So this is going to have a powder coat finish. Feels pretty thick, so honestly I think it should stay in pretty good shape for years to come. What's pretty neat is the receiver tube opening down here is going to have 2 5/8 holes in it, and so it's going to give you a couple of different options. They're going to give you that extra pin and clip that you need to secure your accessory or your ball mount, and you'll have those 2 options that you can use to best suit your needs. Now I will say, if you need a ball mount that'll work real well with this setup, Patriot Hitches actually offers a really neat ball mount kit where it has multiple different balls and pintle hooks and things like that. Pretty much anything you'd want to do is on this ball mount kit. So if that's something that interests you, you can find it right here at eTrailer. So one thing that impresses me is how manageable this is. It's relatively lightweight. A lot of these type of drop hitches are very heavy and bulky, and that's really just not the case with this one. You know, you can pull it out and put it in very easily. So I went ahead and came over here to our SUV, put our hitch adapter in that raised position, and put in a cargo carrier just to kind of give you an example on the things you can do with this. So it's a perfect example. Say if you needed some more ground clearance, say maybe where you're going is very hilly, or you really have to kind of dig through the trails to get to your destination, you can get your accessory higher up off the ground. That way you don't have to worry about it dragging. Or potentially maybe you have some sensitive cargo back here you need to load up, and you want to get it as far away from your exhaust as possible. That's another solution. This is another thing you could use that for. Or potentially, maybe even what kind of comes to my mind is if you have something really heavy and you don't want to have to bend all the way down where the cargo carrier usually would be down here and have to pick it back up and so on. You can kind of get it waist level, set it in easily, be able to pull it out easily. So really can do a ton of different things with this. It's not just for making those adjustments to tow a trailer. You can use it for things like this and really think outside of the box with it. It really is nice too that they thought to put some set screws in there which eliminate that slop in play. Even with all this going on, usually with a large accessory or something like that, you'd have a ton of movement in your hitch and you'd hear this bouncing around and so on. So even, like I said, with all this going on, if we grab our cargo carrier and kind of move it back and forth, there's a tiny bit of movement, but for the most part, when I shake this, it's moving the whole entire car. It's not bouncing around inside of the hitch. So really nice. It actually works, and I think will really come in handy. Well, let's go ahead and just kind of go over a couple of measurements. Whenever you adjust it, you're going to be able to make those adjustments in 1.5 inch increments. So kind of that perfect spot in my opinion. And if you look down here on our shank, from the center of the pinhole to the very edge of it, that's going to be about 2.5 inches. So that's how far you're gonna have to put it in your hitch to line up your pinholes. Now, something I do want to mention is whenever you have this in that raised position, more than likely it's going to work with pretty much all the vehicles. However, I did find one here today where it is going to interfere. So if we try to put this in and line up our pinhole with the hole in the hitch, it's not going to line up, and that's because this is going to make contact with the bumper. It's close, but it still doesn't line up. So that's something you need to think about. Whenever you have it in that lowered position, shouldn't have any issues at all, because obviously your bumper is not below your hitch. But that being said, just something I wanted to mention with it in this position, if you do plan on using it like that, something you might want to think about. So to give you an idea, what you can do is measure the distance from your hitch pin hole in your hitch to the edge of your rear bumper and figure out that clearance, and the clearance from the very end of this receiver tube to where the shank starts right here, that's going to be about 2 3/4 of an inch. So you can use those measurements to kind of figure out if you can put this in completely with this all the way up and not have to worry about hitting your bumper. Kind of a unique situation, but something just to think about. And this is going to go in the back of your truck, no different than any other ball mount or accessory. So we'll just slide it in, line up the holes, take our included pin and clip, run it through, and we're good to go. From there, to set your desired height, you're just going to remove the 2 pin and clips, make your adjustment. Say if you want to go up, for example, we'll run it up, and just reinstall those pin and clips. So we'll get them back through, lock them down. It's pretty nice, they come included. Less things we have to worry about getting separately. And this even has some anti-rattle bolts. So you can see we have some movement there. And to eliminate that, we're going to tighten down this bolt. So run it down by hand. It does come included with a little wrench to kind of get you going. But once you tighten that down, you can see there's no more movement there. So that's really going to help eliminate any of that slop or noise that you get coming from here. Same thing with this bolt down here. Without it, if you slid your ball mount in or your accessory, you would have that vibration. But with the set screw, once you put it in there, you would tighten that down as well, and that's going to keep everything nice and solid. And if you don't want to use a specialty ball mount or really don't plan on doing anything too crazy, it is perfectly acceptable to use your standard style ball mount that you might already have laying around the house, in the back of your truck, or something like that. Whether it be a 3-way or a regular single style one, it is perfectly acceptable. Now, if you don't have a standard style ball mount, you can pick one of these up right here at eTrailer as well. So at the end of the day, an all-around great hitch adapter. You really can't go wrong with this one. So whether you plan on primarily using it for towing, accessories, even as a high-low adapter for a flat tow setup, or anything in between for that matter, this is going to be able to get the job done and be a great asset to have regardless on what you plan on doing. And that'll finish up our look at of the Patriot Hitches Adjustable Drop Hitch Receiver.